Ducati admits that, when it first introduced its Hypermotard at the EICMA show in 2005, it still wasn't sure if this was the right bike for the brand to be building. 10 years have come and gone since then, and the manufacturer has now sold over 40,000 Hypermotard models, in one variation or another. This week, I'm testing the latest iterations, the 2016 Hypermotard 939 and Hypermotard 939 SP. And hell if I'm not glad the Ducati bosses signed off on this project all those years ago. These are arguably the most entertaining bikes in Ducati's lineup. Of course, the two latest Hypers have their place in the world and Ducati knows that, so they arranged for us ride the standard Hypermotard in the city streets of downtown Los Angeles, and the Olin suspension-equipped Hypermotard SP in the canyon roads up above the mess that is Louisiana. At 6 foot 3 inches tall, it took a good part of the first day to get reacquainted with the bike's seating position, which is true to the Supermoto-esque design and has you sitting square and tall, but is also determined by a deeply cut seat that locks you in place and doesn't allow for taller riders to move around much. This, of course, is no different than the riding position on previous Hypermotard models, and in fact the only really big changes for 2016 are at the engine and exhaust, which are updated to help the bike meet 4 Euro emissions standards. Those standards are pretty tough for manufacturers to conform to while still keeping power and weight numbers on par with previous models, and one way Ducati has been able to do that here is by bumping displacement via a slightly larger bore number. Now 937cc, the engine is claimed to have just a few extra horsepower on tap up top, but even more of an advantage between 6,000 and 7,500 RPM. Now having ridden the bike on everything from city streets to freeways to canyon roads, I can say it definitely has the pep I expected to, especially in that mid-range area. I never felt like I wanted or needed more power, and had more fun than is probably legal. Fortunately, I've managed to stay out of trouble and am headed back to the office so that I can get back to that whole working thing. Expect a full first ride report as soon as I do. Until then, here's a better look at how I spent my time with the new Hypermotards, with some more impressions from my first rides.